Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. So we are going to dive into some 2025 predictions. There's going to be several parts of these. I'll see how long this one goes on. I might even divide, like where we've got several parts, divide that part into two anyway. A lot of you like the longer readings. And I just still want to confirm that if it's like 45 minutes, you're fine with it, or do you prefer for them to be like 20 minutes separated? I prefer to remain on the camera because when I do start, I just want to complete it. Today we're going to look at the energy themes. So I'm going to channel energy in terms of themes. Obviously with that, I will remember some of the predictions I've already noted. I don't know how you're all feeling. Are you excited for 2025? Who had a good 2024? Who didn't? Who has been fear-mongered by people in terms of how 2025 is going to be? I don't know why I see this really dull. I don't know if it's because my mum's put a lampshade in here and it's a bit... I'm sure it's the same. I really don't know. But I just need my eyes testing. I hope everyone is well and doing well. Thank you for those of you that asked about me, and let's hope that 2025 is a better year than 2024 if you had a great year, and if you didn't have a good year, then let's hope 2025 is that marking change. I do want to do predictions to talk about Ascension and the two timelines that will be at play, okay, because we are going at a much faster pace. So you're going to feel, you know how we normally feel like, wow, that year went fast. Well, 2025 is going to be a year that goes extremely fast, okay? And it's because of our timeline and the way we're making leaps and bounds. But let's dive into themes for this one. I also had some, you know how I either have it on a notepad. This is not my normal one. You will know I've got a nicer one than this. Or I make notes on a phone. I had an issue with one of the phones and I've lost a lot of even readings that I wanted to do where I was channeling energy. But let's see what we've got. So this is going to be about the themes. I do want to say that because we're already in January. I will be doing January, but we are going to be seeing some mass murders. And we need to use our discernment, okay? There's no more, I've actually put here MF. There's no more excusing the MFs for like trying to say, oh, my family member got into Islam or something like that. And one of the things I do want to mention, which is going to come up in the themes and the predictions, is about religion. There's no religion that condones mass murdering of innocent people, okay? Even these extremists, the terrorists, they're terrorists, and it's a shame that they label themselves as part of a religion and everyone sees that it's true that that is a religion. Actually, they should be not recognized as part of any religion for that, but also called out for it. So where I say we need to not excuse these MFs anymore, and you're talking about teenagers as well as middle-aged people, and the reason they do it is often, you know, you see your world is crumbling. And I said it with the Luigi case, we've got to be really, really careful now, because a lot of people where you see that you're insignificant and your life is crumbling and you can't see a way out, or to make a name for yourself, you're going to do these things because you're a bit of a loose cannon already. You're going through a bit of a mental breakdown. So no, and even family members that might say, well, somebody became... I'm using Islam as an example because I do feel like it's one of the religions that seems to be the one where they say, oh, this person converted to Islam before they did this. Before that, there's no history. You don't have to be a Muslim or part of the Islamic religion to have an interest in looking why people follow a religion. So some of you might have actually read a bit of the Quran or known about it. And one thing that I do know about all religions, in the end, they seem to have the same pillars and principles of each. The way you should live your life as a human. Yes, for example, in Islam, you shouldn't, for example, eat pork or something, those kind of things. Or in Christianity, red wine is seen quite holy as well. But when it gets down to the way you should live and what you should do, it's very much the same. And a lot of it is around having faith. Even when we talk about manifesting, we talk about having faith and being in that right energy. And a lot of religions, if you look at what they're translating and stating, and if we look at it, it's a man's translation. So even the originals are a man's translation. Anyway, religion on the side, but yeah. And then I've got June, July, August. I think we're going to see fuel prices get high, and we're going to get some people that are really angered. And by October, I'll get into that in the actual psychic predictions. But let's look at the themes that I've got, because I did feel like the first week of Jan, especially like the first few days, some people might find it really, really sticky, and there's going to be, it's not going to be a nice energy. So if there's been an up of like a crime or something of mass or something like that, the energy is sticky individually and on a collective level. I was getting also, you know, because I feel like this year we're going to see a lot of fire and water element, okay? And there will be air, but air is more or less along the way, not necessarily just the weather. It's about the innovation and the advancements we're going to make in aerospace, and I will get into that. But for especially March, April, but we're going to see a lot March, April time, but throughout the year, water like flooding, tsunamis, thunderstorms. And then likewise in some places we might hear of a drought, so an extremes and extremes. But we do need to watch March, April time for that. February is going to be a bit chaotic in some of the things on the world plane, but like what I'm saying, on an individual level, we can have a beautiful year, right? I think this year and this fire, I was feeling fire from November, and still I feel a high fire element. I think air in terms of weather is going to be around November onwards time, mainly around hurricanes or tornadoes where they're very, my throat is getting sore. You know, not just your little average one, but not necessarily, I'm not fear-mongering to say that it's a high voltage or rating, but what I'm saying, that's when we're probably going to see the higher energy around that. What I'm trying to say is this year more than ever, because I talk in the psychic predictions, and I have already said, and I will say, there's going to be mental overwhelm. We are going to have mental health crisis this year. It's important to find the earth element in stillness, okay? That doesn't mean there's not going to be an earthquake, but the earth that you're going to feel, the earthquake, is going to actually come from the sea wanting to push boundaries. And I don't know why I'm getting the sea angry, right? So there could be that, but we are lacking in earth. So it's important when you feel you're having a mental overwhelm, to take steps to feel grounded, in whatever way grounding is for you. It's very different for other people. It doesn't always necessarily be going to the sea. I mean, in the UK at the moment, it depends where you are, it could be -2. In Australia, it's the summer. Maybe you find ways in yourself to ground practices that you have that make you feel grounded. And when you can obtain the essence and the elements of nature, of any nature, then you do so. It's going to be a fast year, and I think the most challenging is going to be, you know, challenging in terms of what we see worldwide is up until, like, I want to say June, July, the first 6 months. I think September eases, but it gets faster from August onwards. That I feel like the time frame from August onward, we're going to feel like it's getting faster. We're making leaps and bounds in terms of our progress, in terms of our timelines, in terms of what we're advancing in and what's coming forward. Where in the past it would have been around 140 years that we take to ascend or get to a certain stage or an invention. Now it's every 40 years. So can you imagine that time frame, how fast we're being? Obviously what I'm doing is my opinion, my psychic downloads. Use your own discernment, take what you feel you wish to, and always come back to this. There is going to be something around nature or the universe, like ancient wisdom, Jaya, reminding of us of nature and its importance. Whether it's, we start to see a lot of people focusing on that, and I do think that we're going to see a lot of young people that are like innovators in terms of what they'll do for green, for the earth. And I'm getting the word new earth. I don't know what it would mean in this, but like they could take waste and they change it into different stuff. And so I do think we're going to see that. Mainstream media again fizzling out more. I've said this in maybe September, October, November predictions, fizzling out even more, and more independent journalists, maybe even channels, even I don't know who watches TV anymore, if you still watch TV. You know, the main, you know, you go to the main cities and you see like the main broadcasters having their building, whether it's NBC or BBC. I think that's going to slowly change, and I think Elon Musk is going to be in this as well. I've mentioned previously in UK predictions about the digital wallet and trying to push that, and I do think there's going to be digital currencies and wallets, more of that coming out as well. The theme of this year as well, I'll go into this in the psychic predictions, but I feel there's going to be a lot around meat and metals. So, you know, we might see people who work with metals or in the metal industry really doing really well. Innovations around metals, and meat. I think what is going to be doing is they're going to try and say, like, I don't know, is an example, mad cow is starting again, or the cattle have a certain disease, so we need to, it's actually playing a game of, you know, we've got a lot of farmers, I think not in the UK, I don't know, but I'm getting that it's wider than the UK, so maybe Europe, I'll have to look into that, it's just coming to me, that are really having a struggle at this moment in time. And so one way is also to try and calm that down, is to say the cattle have a disease and we have to kill them off or get people not to eat. There is going to be stuff around meat that comes up. I do think this is not the themes as well. I do think we're going to see more food poisoning cases or poisoning cases that we're going to hear about. Something was coming to me in terms of the way the indigenous tribes used to be, where they used to be at service of others and from the heart. That is the energy we need to be in. It's not about, and we're going to be on 2 timelines where you see who's in it just for the profit of themselves solely, and who's in it for service to others. And that is going to be very, very apparent, and you might be faced with a choice on that. Okay, you might be faced on, do I solely serve myself and generate all this money, or do I put out a service and a service to others and align with humanity? So that is something. I think there's going to be a filtering of beliefs. A lot of people are going to be filtering beliefs, and it's important for you to filter your beliefs as well if you're struggling with that. AI, we know, is going to grow. I presume we know is going to grow, and it's going to be harder and harder to distinguish the difference between the reality and the AI. So we have to be careful there in some aspects to see the difference. Remember, I think this is a members read. I don't think I've put it, I can't remember. If I haven't, I'll release it, on our celebrities being cloned. In that, I believe I mentioned, and I've mentioned it on a live in Patreon and members, members tier 2, because I always ask if you want to ask questions on whatever tier you're on, whatever member. I'll put it on your community page. But you can feel energy difference between the reality of someone and AI. Obviously, if you're watching it, some of us might be able to pick up on, nah, I can't feel it. Some of us won't, and it's going to become harder and harder. There's going to be a lot about aerospace, everything about aerospace. It's going to be looking like it's making advancements, and then suddenly there's some limitations where we might not hear about it for like a month or two, and it's probably because they're looking at, I don't know, some challenge or limits come in the way. But we're talking about aerospace advancements, whether it's delivery over Amazon, whether it's airspace regulations. A lot of that is going to come through. So do also expect to hear a lot of stories and falsehoods around what was happening with the drones as well. We are going to be able to go a lot faster and further than before. I think, you know, March, April, we could see some kind of problem with the sea and shipping or trade. So maybe a delay in food, which pushes some countries to make sure that they are trying to grow a certain food or make a certain food that they used to get from abroad. There's something about the shipping, I feel. I do think if you've got early degrees of cardinal signs, so Aries, Cancer, Capricorn, Libra, very early degrees, okay, you could feel that you're being activated some point in this year. And I think if you're born 52, 53, 89, those years stands out to me. You could feel that you get activated as well. Mutable signs, some of you, which is Sagittarius, Pisces, Virgo, and Gemini, you could feel that at some stage, especially July onwards, that, oh my God, I feel suffocated. I need to break free. I'm done with this routine. I'm done with this way of life. And you might feel like you want to change your lifestyle, change some area in your life. You're like, it's just suffocating you so much. But you're also going to have thinking out the box genius moments, which is going to be exciting. You'll have to let me know. So I'm going to talk more about the two timelines and the two kind of, some people will say 3D, 5D, and where you sit and where you might sit sometimes and you might not another time. I made this comment in response to a comment someone had asked a question, which was a great question. And so you're going to see, like I said, at least a highest timeline where you're really considering others, and then there's a timeline where I'm only taking from myself. You need to think of like integrity, heart-centered, is kind of a theme of being in that timelines. There will be 2 timelines, and one way to spot this, like I said, is whether it's yourself or seeing the leaders, who's in it for themselves and who's giving to humanity and helping humanity, and in loving act of others. Okay, I do this channel probably for that. If you know, I don't make anything on this channel. The platform is corrupt. I'm peed off. In terms of, and I think even though your favorite channels might not tell you, I think they use some technicality that pushes their videos up in the algorithm. And the reason I think this is because I get random emails from people from their personal email, and they ask if I need sort of help with my videos, which I haven't. Okay, I'm just leaving it to God now, and hopefully with your support we can grow the channel. Because if you notice, I used to post every day 1 video or even 2 videos, and I'm happy to do that, but I need to somehow just get a balance in terms of, you know, we all need to eat, right? The very basics. And so that's, I'd like to have this community of truth tellers, because we need to balance the other stuff that's happening, whether it's conspiracy, whether it's other stuff. Revelations and revolutionary year onwards, we're going to see revolutions happening now, like major ones. You know, when they used to say, I don't know why I'm getting the French Polonaise something, the French Revolution, those kind of things are going to come up. Okay, so revolutionary time for people, for humanity. You might sense that there's a lot collapsing, and it's the old collapsing. Let it go. Don't latch onto it. I'll give you an example that's very easy probably for you to let it go is, for example, I think Syria came down, didn't it? I don't know how they got him down. Does anyone know? I just saw it in the thumbnails. I think there might be a couple of countries in Europe that are not happy with their leadership or government, and they're not really sure what is happening there. So let it go, let it collapse. Okay, let it yeah, Spirit is telling me definitely somewhere in Europe have had a collapsing of their government. So Syria, maybe Germany, France. I have heard of something to do with Romania, but I don't know what that is. So that's not channeled, but it's something that came up in a discussion. But watch how also the medical, the education and the judicial system will need to change. And so if they're on the right timeline, they will do the right changes that need to occur. I've got something to say about the justice system in the UK actually. I think it's appalling, and I think it's very gaslighting. I can call up some religion. We are going to be walking away from the dogma of religion. What I mean by that is where a man has come in and said this is the religion, and then those people have followed it, and it's spread and it's lost its true essence. I don't mean faith, okay? I don't mean there's going to be a loss of, like, there might be a loss of faith, right? But I don't mean we're going to be away from faith. I mean the dogma of religion. So you might see people that are like open, those that are open, that could say, I am, for example, a Christian, but I also believe in these elements from the Buddha, from Islam, or something like that, okay? But it's getting away from the dogma. There will be a spiritual increase. There will be people that are more tapped into what feels right for them. I don't want to say necessarily psychic abilities, but more intuitive abilities, intuitive feel, intuitive knowing. Do you know where it's like, you leave the house and you kind of like, I think I'll take that, I don't know, extra £5 because I might just need it. And then you're like, nah, I'm not going to need it. It's another example. Or my keys, you know, is my keys in my bag? And you're kind of like, yeah, I've always got them in my bag. But then you're like, just check, or just check the iron's switched off, etc. Those are very simple examples. March, April, like I said, and again in October, I think there's going to be water sort of elements, flooding, the sea is pushing boundaries. We may have in the first 6 months earthquake. And I do think that there could be, I mentioned it in the last predictions, I believe, we could see a finding of a land under the sea that we've not found yet, or, you know, some land under the sea. The sea is pushing boundaries, and I think the boundaries we have of lands at the moment, you're going to see a changing. Whether this is just, you know, I don't necessarily mean that, for example, a country is going to take over another country, although I do think there's some countries that are trying to do that. We can see that with the wars out of greed. But what I'm talking about is just land borders, boundaries changing, and they're also the sea pushing that. Winds and hurricanes, I think more around November time. I think we're going to see more censorship. Not the video for me to be pissed off on then. But also you're going to have more options of different social media channels. Let me know what's the main social media channel. Is it YouTube that you like to watch, or is it others? I do think that we're going to see more AI robots in the medical field, in the operating field. I do think we're going to see more stem cell medical treatments, innovations around that. I mentioned this before, the brain, the mind, we're going to start hearing more about that. We're going to also hear, you're probably going to really be careful this year about people that are going to come up to be mind manipulators. All right. So this is where I say really choose who you follow and who you listen to. There's going to be people that are going to really try to get you into cults, mind and manipulate you. That's important to remember. Look out for like breakthrough of brain and mind diseases. That is something that I think we're going to see over the next few years. And I think there's going to be a major paradigm breakthrough, larger perspective of our cosmos, of the universe, the planets. There's something that's going to come through revolutionary or paradigm breaking, where maybe we thought the ceiling of the planets is here, but then there's something that widens open. So we need to see when that comes through. I do get that as a theme. We are going to have major choices around devices, and what I mean by that, devices or tech to do with your body. So, you know, I've mentioned about like devices, sea creatures that are actually devices that could be in the sea that clean the seabed, and I see that, and I still see that, and I'm surprised we've not gone further into that. So now you might get something that says, and Elon Musk does not surprise me to come through, and what I'm seeing is, you know, like the Pac-Man that eats stuff. So do you want to put this sort of, they could say it's a fluid, but it's, do you know that fluid where you see it's like bright green or blue, like it's got tech in it, and you put it in, or a chip, and it will try to eat bad cells and stuff. I don't know what choice, but we're going to have a choice to either something that looks like, yeah, why would I want to risk getting cancer or whatever when this eats the cells that are deriving that, or could, you know, grow into that. Where is the limit though? That's where, you know, we're going to have a major choice around something around that. I also, in the global psychic predictions, I'm gonna go into the, you know, I mentioned the bird flu. I don't know if this is going to be a censored word right now, so you'll have to let me know if it suddenly goes blurred while I say that. And then we're going to have to come up with some kind of, you know, we've got this whole appendix of names right now. And I still think DT needs to be careful, okay? And from now until 21st, it's chaos. Chaos, chaos, chaos. We're going to see loads of chaos happening. People just, I think people just like left, right and centre, what are they thinking? What, oh my God, did you hear the news on this, that? I've got no idea what's happening. If there's something happening abroad or whatever. So you'll have to let me know. I think a lot of people on, and what was I saying? Just jumping the gun. Yeah, the bird flu. It's kind of like you won't be forced into certain or something, but it'll be like, I don't want to employ, this is what. Do you know when this happened to me, you're put in a position where you need to do something, or you need to work somewhere, or you need to go somewhere, or you need to travel somewhere, and you either take the jab so that you go or can, or you can't go there if you don't take the, or you don't take the jab, but you can't access something that you need to do or say or be, or money or whatever that drives money, whatever. There might be some kind of stuff like that, or we won't register a patient or let a patient visit that hasn't had this. That I feel that around the bird FLU. I don't think it's as serious as they're gonna make out it is, or making out it is, and it's all to test you, and I don't think people are gonna buy into it as much, but I don't know. A lot of people on an individual might decide to end stuff in their lives, and I don't mean to end their life, okay? You can take what I mean in terms of mental breakdown. But like end chapters where they don't feel the person they're with, or certain things in their life is where they're at, or what they're happy with. I think there's just going to be some things people decide to end a certain thing or chapter or even contract, whatever it is. I see a lot of mass murders around guns, cars, and it's because there's that mental health overwhelm, and it's the people that can't face themselves, and it's kind of like going out doing those things. And like I said, we need to be careful about glorifying these people, because they shouldn't. And I mentioned in the last prediction, sort out the guns for schools and the kids. You know, parents can sort of know if their kid is acting a bit weird, or their kid is depressed or not the same. At that point, lock your gun away, right? Something about, I'm going into a bit of predictions here, shall I? Let's leave it as this, because I was going to go into some predictions. There's going to be oil prices, oil issues, oil and gas. The stock will see at some stage really, really good. But again, like I said, weather-wise, there is tsunami coming, you know, the earth as well as tsunamis, and it's the sea that's causing the earth to rumble. But yeah, I've got here more predictions, so let me do that in the next one. Definitely support these if you are. I think I've got one where I've broken down time frames of the year. I'll just include this here. Sorry, 1 second. you know what, I'll do it in the next one. And then what I'll do is I might actually the thing is, if I break it down per country or jurisdiction, some people don't watch it, but you need to watch it because the US really affects a lot of stuff. So if you're only just watching a bit of the UK and I'm doing a US, I might relate to the UK or to the Middle East, or I might relate to the Middle East or the UK or the US in another one, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm a bit reluctant to separate them. Let's see what Spirit Advice has for us this year. Just quickly, I'll do this again. As of now, you're going to have choices. Make sure you come from a heart-centered place. So a lot of choices, heart-centered place. I'm not sure if this was like this or this, but I'm going to take it. I don't know if it was reverse or like this. I'm going to take it like this. So the challenge with the Queen of Pentacles is, are you choosing the money route, okay? Or are you going to come from a heart-centered place for people? In a challenging position could be really helicoptering all the news, all the media, getting really scared, worrying about your finances, which is very difficult not to when you're in a financial situation. The money you make, are you, if you're gaining a lot of profit, are you saving it only for yourself, or are you giving? The Lovers is giving. Told to look at the bottom of the deck. Are you in ego, you know, just cutting everyone out? Or are you going to be King of Pentacles in reverse? Not just like saving and keeping on to your money. There's quite a few here reverse, but they're not all reverse. So very interesting. Can you see how it's to do with the heart versus money and the 3D? And you know, I think you all know that the Lovers has Archangel Michael on it. The King, the Queen of Pentacles doesn't have Archangel Michael on it. They're the two time frames that I mentioned in this reading. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed this. I think this is a good length, and I'll see you in the next Global Psychic Predictions. Stay tuned and stay blessed. Bye.